times when you're not well, my heart can always tell. Don't ever shed a tear, don't ever feel so sad. As I write this song for you, I worry that someday, and it won't be long now, that soon you will be gone. In the corner of my heart, there you'll always stay. Your courage has strengthened me. You have touched me from the start.
Hi, Aarti.
How are you?
Welcome.
The song we
Welcome.
learned to sing.
Thank you.
Please take a seat.
The
Thank you.
secrets we have shared in a corner of my heart. So I say a little prayer, just take my soul with you, so that we'll be together in a corner of my heart. As I write the song for you, I worry that someday, and it won't be long now, that soon you will be gone. In the corner of my heart, there you'll always stay. Your courage has strengthened me. You have touched me from the start. So many happy moments, the song we learned to sing, the secrets we have shared in a corner of my heart.
Yeah. See, on my shirt also got.
Can you give a smile?
Hello, welcome to Shines Productions Aarti Agarwal show, season 2. We spoke about marriage, divorce, and children. How does it affect children at season 1? It's on our YouTube channel, Shines Productions YouTube channel. You can watch them. We had 16 episodes. Moving on, we are going with season 2, and we are going to understand, speak, and listen to the advice of mental wellness. Mr. Raymond Anthony Fernando. We're going to speak to him today in conversation with him. How did he deal with his beloved mental conditions, and how did he fought as a hero? And definitely it's a learning journey, and see what can we take tips from him. The purpose of this video is very simple: for you all to stay happy and healthy life. So I'm here with a video for you to take some precautions and to take care of yourself more. Remember today, right now, we have more people suffering, the indoor, and if you, as a neighbor or friend or family, if you see any of these suffering friends or people, you go and help them out. We are here. Unless we are helping each other, we cannot progress. So let's help each other and grow together. So here, Mr. Anthony Fernando. Yes, Mr. Raymond. So welcome to Shines Productions and Aarti Agarwal show. Hello, Mr. Raymond. How are you today?
I'm fine.
So we're going to interview you today on the mental awareness. So thank you so much for giving us time, a moment where you can share with us your experiences and about yourself or your journey. We all would like to know, who are you and what do you do?
Thank you, Aarti, for inviting me on your show. Hello, everybody. My name is Raymond Anthony Fernando. I'm a freelance writer, a motivational speaker, a lyricist. I write words for that we converted into songs, and a staunch mental health advocate. I'm very passionate about social issues, especially mental health and aging conditions. During my mental health and advocacy journey, I have received several outstanding awards and commendations from both local and overseas organizations.
So, Mr. Raymond, we would like to know what are the symptoms exactly for the schizophrenia and how did you cope with it?
In the case of schizophrenia, which my late wife had to struggle with, the symptoms include, first of all, she'll have constant headaches, and she can't sleep at night. She starts feeling nervous, and she becomes frightened, and it's very pitiful because she becomes like a frightened rabbit. And all sort of thoughts run to her troubled mind. She becomes restless. She becomes confused. She's very preoccupied, deep in thought, in another world. Then there's overwhelming sadness. That means she will think of all the times, like sad times when we lost our two children and all the sad things. Then she will have a loss of appetite. She normally has a good appetite, but when she is in a relapse, she will doesn't want to eat. Then she believes that people are talking about her. For example, when I bring her to the market when she's in a relapse, she will say, the person is talking about me, is it? And stuff like that. Then she becomes fearful, suspicious, and argumentative. She's not violent. There's a lot of misconceptions about people mentally, they are violent. So she's not at all violent, but she's argumentative. Then a lot of dandruff starts coming on her forehead, and even though she shampoos, it'll still come back. And the final stage where I got no choice to water is when she has suicidal thoughts, and hospitalization is the only way out.
Can we know that what are the any examples or experience to share, Mr. Raymond?
Okay, so I can give you two examples. Right? Immediately, one is when she will believe when she's in that state that people are trying to enter the house. Okay, she will, and if this thing happened, and it really frightened her. There was one occasion when an Indian lady from the upper floors accidentally came in the night. She came and put the key in our door and tried to open. And my wife I opened the door. She, who are you? Then she, oh, I'm very sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sister, brother. I'm staying on the top floor. I accidentally. Please forgive me. My wife wasn't happy. Then she said, you see, there's an intruder. Under normal circumstances, she would gladly accept the lady's apology. But in this instance, where she becomes frightened, scared that people are trying to harm her, she will have this condition. There was another occasion, and this is very, very common in her whenever she relapses. Whenever she relapses, she will believe that there's a war coming. I'm not sure why she feels that way, but it's possible because her mother and her father didn't have mental illness, but her grandmother had mental illness. They lived during the Japanese War. So there could be some connection here because if it doesn't hit one generation, it will hit the next. So that's one instance. And one of the things that became so real to her was that it happened to be at a corner inn previously. There was an Indian family, and the boy, the NS boy, he died. He died, right? So a whole 2, 3 army trucks came, and they all came in uniform. Then they went there, and then she saw it, and she said, "You see, Ray, you told me no war, right? How come there's a lot of army people coming there?" So it became so hard to convince her, That was when I knew I had no choice. I had to bring her to IMID for hospitalization.
So, Mr. Raymond, would you like to share more on how to tackle this problem?
The key is to learn. As I learn every year, I learn new skills, knew how to handle her. And one of the things I have learned not to do when she is in an unstable condition is not to argue with her. Even if she says black is blue, I have to agree at that point in time. Because once you start trying to reason, you cannot reason with her when she's not stable. So you just have to have. And what I do is I just give her a hug. Give her a hug. I say, "Darling, don't worry. I'm here for you." And then you can see she bring out a weak smile. So love is a very powerful tool that can transform lives.
Yes,
And
definitely.
I have used love a lot to help her in her recovery. So that's one instance. Um, and I feel that support groups here are, can be more dynamic. For example, if we have support groups, I don't have support groups, And if, for example, if we have a support group, what I'm trying to advocate is that let's say you have 20 members in the support group. Maybe some of them drive, some of them can cook. So what I need, you see now I have this condition, I cannot climb and change the light, right? I will fall down. So if somebody is able to help me in such a condition, then I in turn, when they need help, counseling and stuff like that, given my experience, I'm more than willing to help. In fact, I've helped many people. I have gone down to hospitals. There was a lady who her husband had this problem. I went all the way down, gave her support, encouraged treatment, and he went for treatment and he became stable. So these are such instances that we can do. We can basically look out for one another. That's what it needs. But caregivers or or support groups need funding because it's lots. There's money to be spent. You see. Uh, the other thing is that I don't have social outings. I don't have social outing. Um, Unfortunately, I'm limited. I have some good friends who will once in a while bring me out, stuff like that. But social isolation can lead to a lot of damage. When you feel that nobody cares for you, stuff like that. So that's the thing. I hope community centers and stuff like that, church groups can come out, religious groups can come out, support and say, "Hey, women, we're having this function. Hey, come, join us." Stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things
Yes.
that can be done. Uh, I have I always tell people, don't be afraid, don't be ashamed to reach out for help. Ask for help. Never mind. And I did ask for help, and then came in this. I reached out to this caregivers, uh, active caregivers, uh, active global. I'm blessed because I reached out to this active special, global specialized caregivers. Then I managed to get one healthcare worker, in Indonesian girl, Lisa. She is very helpful. She comes every Tuesday, 3 hours, sometimes 1 hour, sometimes 3 hours, cleans up my place very nicely, and then she will help me to buy my dinner. Okay, she comes at 3 o'clock to buy me dinner, and then I'll pay her the money. Then sometimes I need things like maybe I need shampoo, I need stuff like uh, some of the things I need like washing powder, all that. So she'll take the trouble to buy. She's a very kind person. So I'm blessed in that sense. I think global specialized caregivers, they are doing a very good job. So that's why I reach out to them. Then there's another girl. I tell you, children say the dumbest thing, and they are so cute. I have my friend. He's a French guy, a French gentleman, got a Chinese wife, and he got a very cute daughter. When she saw me for the first time, I used to go up with the bus with a walking stick, but but when I went up the bus after learning to use the motorized wheelchair, she saw me. You know what she said? She came close to me, then looking at me, and she said so sadly, "Uncle Raymond, why are you in a wheelchair?" She was almost in tears. I was so moved by her. And that's a 6-year-old child telling me that she cares for me. So we cannot learn a lot from children.
Definitely, definitely.
I mean, you have children, you should know, right? There's a play school. And then every time there are certain time, the teachers will bring all the children out in a row. They walk by. And then I used to say hello to them and all that. And then the teachers will say, I said, "Hello, little children." Then they will wave. It came to a point where they already know me so well. They said, "Hello." Then the teachers will say, "Good morning, uncle." And then they say, "Good morning." So I find joy in children because what does children do? They just know how to give love. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. And let's move on to the next questions. I would like to ask you, do you think lifestyle is affecting us or our working life?
It's a definite yes is the work stress. People are bogged down with a lot of things, stuff like that. There's cyberbullying, cost of living, job losses. But the good part is that the government is addressing it. I think Prime Minister Lawrence Wong is looking at all these. Then there's shaky relationships. Relationships are very tricky. You have poor boy-girl relationships, and you have read about it. I've seen it, how people, break up and stuff like that. And there's also one instance, I think as an advocate, I always look out for reports and stuff like that. There was one instance on Facebook. This girl, teenager, was depressed. She said, I want to end my life. And then the troll started, I join you. So I interjected. I said, please don't do it. I went through an attempted suicide, and I can tell you, had I died, it would devastate my wife. In fact, it happened. So please don't do it. Just stop doing it. So this is what I look out for in instances like that. Uh, I'm very glad that our Prime Minister Lawrence Wong is he has placed mental health a national priority um, to help people, get people in the community to help out to understand and stuff like that. That's good because I do give him a lot of feedback. I share a lot about my journey and my wife and stuff like that. His Lawrence Wong is good because he's very open to feedback and he's more than willing to listen. And when you have people who are listening, it's also very good. I still remember one cabinet minister, Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan. He's a he's a wonderful man. Because he's a family man, because he has a loving family, he also feels for me. When my wife passed away, he gave me such a beautiful message. It was really, I was almost in tears with the words. It was so comforting. And then he ended up by saying, Raymond, I must continue to serve society from the experiences that you and your wife had. And I have done just that. So I think it's a lot of things that matters a lot. Uh, but stigma still remains a nagging problem. Uh, what is important is how we put things out, whether in the media. Media can sway people's thinking, because the outreach is huge. So if the persons with mental illness are put in bad light, then the stigma deepens. But if the reports that put out is more education, helping people understand, then stigma should slowly be reduced. It is how we work things out, and stuff like that. So this is very important. I'll give you another instance. I'm not just a, I don't want to be just an active citizen in Singapore. I also want to be a global citizen. I used to read reports. There was one report I read some time ago where the Filipinos were committing suicide, you know, and the church had to be brought in. The church had to be brought in to help these people. Now I'm not a person who got money, but I can do the next best thing. So what I did is I got hold of my friend. He's a great gentleman. He used to help me fund some of my books. I always say if people believe in you, they will rally around you. They will walk alongside. So I told him, my friend, brother, this is the situation. You have to start me sponsorship. This is what happening in the Philippines. I would like to reprint some of my copies of my book, Loving a Schizophrenic, and see whether I can send it to the psychiatric hospital there in Manila. And immediately he sent me $500. So I got it reprinted. I sent 40 copies of this book of my wife's journey with me, and 20 copies of a book about such public suggestions which I made at the government, and it was implemented. I sent it there. A psychiatrist, I sent it to a mayor there. I know the mayor very well, Mayor Anand. And then shortly, a psychiatrist replied to me, he said, Raymond, thank you, we have received the book. I told them, this books my wife's journey, please give it to your nurses, your healthcare workers, your doctors. They can understand this book, understand of it, what I went through, and how we can turn around lives. And then they were very happy. I sent it to them. And from there, I hope things have improved.
So, Mr. Raymond, could you share with us roughly about your childhood? How did you fell in love with your wife, and what's your education? We would like to know more about you.
Sure. Before I got married, I was staying with my mother and five other siblings, including my sister, in was that time was King Cat Avenue that we moved, Potong Pasir. And one of the things I observed from my mother, which which made me spellbound and decide, my mother, she's a Eurasian, she can cook fantastic cuisine. And one day she bought extra chicken, she cooked it, and then I asked her, Mom, where are you going? I followed her. You know what she did? She saw those Bangla workers on the clean the estates. They were just taking one packet of rice, 5-6% sharing with little bit of just curry gravy. So I want to give it to them. And then I told myself, I think they were so grateful to my mother. So, but I learned the power of compassion from my mother. And then I learned later from my wife. How did I meet my wife? I was working in broadcasting, a lot of pretty girls there. Uh, but what made me move to my wife? Her kindness, her simplicity. You know, I asked, she was actually a Buddhist. Then she told me, but she used to quietly sneak out on Sundays and go to church. She had a very good colleague, her name is Elizabeth, who would always talk to her about good Christian values. You know? Then there was a Muslim guy also. They were all very nice to my wife. Her boss was very nice. She was working as a secretary to him. He told me, he told her, his name is Mr. Thomas, Doris, I don't care what illness you got, whether you've seen a psychiatrist, so long as you can do the job well, you can function well, the job is yours forever. That encouraged her a lot. So good employees, understanding colleagues, you thrive. And then there were still people in the village who were prejudiced against her. You know, I'm a non-Chinese, but this girl told her, Raymond's a good man. You should marry him. And then her perception slowly changed. Then she told me I want to become a Catholic. I asked her, why do you want to become a Catholic? You know, she told me, I was stunned, you know. Jesus was tortured, crucified on the cross, you know, by people that he was worshipping to. And yet, he still found it in his heart to forgive. That is why I want to be a Catholic. And I was stunned, you know. I said, this is the girl for me, right? So, and how did I get to know her? Pen pals. We were pen pals. If you look at the power of the pen, that was how many years ago? She became an author of 8 books before she passed away. I'm now an author of 64 books with one more coming on. So you see how things are transformed slowly, step by step, right? That's my journey with her. The journey with her is, I can tell you, is a lot of people view caregiving, especially people with mental illness, as a burden. They may be right, but I have always felt that caregiving for Doris is not a burden, it's a responsibility. Because when I married her, I remember the marriage vow. And the marriage vow to say to love your wife, sinners, and be held for each of her, etc., etc. So I always abide by that. And I can tell you, this is why I want to do another book called Beatitudes and Attitudes. Beatitudes are Catholics, what Catholics believe that you are happy, you are blessed. Both of us have beatitudes. I'm happy to look after her, although there were hard times, but I'm also blessed that I married a girl who taught me the power of unconditional love. Because of Doris, I found a second career in writing when I gave up my job in broadcasting. Because of Doris, I'm able to help and counsel other people who are going through this illness. So this is why she has transformed. She has left a legacy, and so will I. I always tell people, whatever you do, live like a legend. I have, I've studied up to O level. A bit of a naughty boy. I don't like studying. I said I want to go and work. So I went to work, and from there, as I saw my wife struggle with this illness, I told myself one day I'm going to tell her story. And I wrote my first 2 books were poems. And you know how I got started on poems? There was this website by this American guy. He has passed away, but do you know what he told all of us, people suffering poets? Do not write poems that, oh, it's me, I'm suffering, and this and that. Write poems that uplift people and stuff like that. And you can send your poems there, then people will give reviews. And there were some of the poems that I wrote were very well received. I picked out that, kept it in my hard drive, and I managed to someday write 2 books of poems. Because my permanent secretary at that time, he told me, I used to circulate my poems in the ministry. He came out one day, he said, Remy, you write very nice poems. Why don't you write a book of poems? I think that's not a bad idea. So it triggered something. Sometimes one thing can lead to another. So I wrote the poems. I was fortunate to get 2 grants from, I think it was the CDC at that time. CDC. At that time, they allowed me to keep the royalties. I understand I had 2 very good officers. They allowed me to keep the royalties for the books. Right? From there, it's not easy to get funding, and I can tell you that it's really tough. Even now, I used to get some funding from friends. I'm grateful for people in organizations who have funded me or who have given me a lot offering for me to release my books. I mean, recently somebody also helped fund one of my books. So these things help a lot. So from there, I want to continue writing for one simple reason. I'm aging. I'm 74. I want to keep dementia at bay. I mean, we will all go through that process. But I'm also getting forgetful nowadays, stuff like that. So I want to make sure that my mind is continuously active, stuff like that. And in the process of writing books, I helped my wife to become an author as well. One of my strategies is to help to do joint books together. She writes one chapter, I write one chapter. So it's like a joint book. Then in the process, I help others also to write their own books. I'll give you another example. I was at the public forum in a private hospital. 2 psychiatrists were speaking. Dr. Ang Yang Wan is quite a well-known psychiatrist, and Dr. Lionel Lim. But they were talking about how they treat patients and all that. And during the break time, there were about 100 people. Practically all of them were caregivers, 1 or 2 patients. And you know what? They were all coming and asking me so many questions, You see, it just gives me an idea. I have an idea. So I feel that when we give public talks, you cannot just have only a doctor speaking, because people want to know how do I live with somebody with mental illness. They want to know a caregiver's perspective. They want to know a patient's perspective. And I sold that idea to IMH. Beginning, they were a bit reluctant, but after hearing my talk, my sharing, they said, why not call him? And from there, I gave talks, schools, organizations, and stuff like that. There was one instance when this lady, her name is Linda. She was from Neon Polytechnic, and she told she was students were very encouraged by my talk, And when she asked him for feedback, he said, Raymond's talk is better than yours. He's talking about real experience. And she very kindly shared it with me. So you see, I still remember when I speak to students at IT who also studying psychology, the lecturer will ask for the next cohort, can you please give Raymond to us to speak to our students? So that they did that. So these are all very motivating for me.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. How about any of your family members or relatives? Did you approach them, or did they ever came forward to help you? Apart from your own support for your wife, what other extra help did you try?
I didn't get much help. Well, they have their own families. It's not easy for them. I understand. They also have work stress. My sister used to keep in touch with us, and she would talk hours to Doris on the phone at night, And she too had depression, and I had to literally force her to go to see a psychiatrist. She was doing very well, and she was seeing a psychiatrist. Then my twin brother has depression, and at one time he had anger management issues. He's not violent as such, but he gets angry. But with treatment in IMH, he has become very calm. So when I read all these reports about people becoming angry, nowadays people are losing their cool for the slightest thing. You cut into their way, the next minute they want to fight with you and stuff like that. So I and also all this there's treatment, whether it's drug addiction, alcohol abuse, there is treatment. So please go for treatment. I still remember my cousin. He was a SIA engineer, very kind person, exceptionally kind. Whenever my brother had problems, he would bring him out for big makan, give him a check. But he also went through addiction with alcohol. I think a lot of people, when they are stressed out, they take to the bottle. But bear in mind what the British idiom says: the devil is in the bottle, right? So, and you know what? After getting treatment, you know what he did? He became a mentor for alcoholics. He turned his life around. So you see, there's always a silver lining. I always believe that when sometimes something good can come out of something bad. And my wife is a good example. I mean, people have told me, she's gone. What you talk about her? You have to move on. But my reply to them is very simple. I want to, I want to keep her memory alive. She transformed my whole life. And I want to keep her memory alive. So in every book I write, I will normally devote one chapter to her in memory of the boundless love she gave me.
So, Mr. Raymond, do you think that the did you like the treatment that your wife received, and were you comfortable with it?
Uh, yes, definitely she helped. She had good psychiatrists. Uh, and during that time when she was receiving treatment, they had one or two nurses who would come by either every month or bi-monthly, see how she's doing and stuff like that. And of course, there were times when I was really burnt out because uh, at one time sometimes she has to go for what is known as ECT, electroconvulsive therapy. Dead scared of it. But the good thing about ECT is that your recovery is very fast. Once the bubble bursts, when Dory is really, unstable and then she relapses, that's why medication compliance is vital. But I can tell you, medication compliance, even to the last pill that's given, can still cripple her if the environment is not conducive. For example, SARS period. SARS, they were announcing about SARS. People were dying and stuff like that. She was watching the SARS news on the hour, by the hour, and she relapsed. So I learned something else. Never allow them to watch news in the night. When you watch news at night, it plays in your mind. So I stopped her from doing that. She relapsed, but I learned a lesson there. Okay, so basically, never allow them to watch things that play on your mind. I told her, don't watch. You want to read the news, read the newspaper in the morning, because you are that nighttime. You play on your mind and stuff like that. So that is one thing I've learned. So Um, so she went through about ECT is given about normally about one set is three. Okay, so they normally give uh, sometimes two sets. But the SARS period was very difficult because they had to stop. They had to bring in anesthesia from outside. At SARS, they had to stop all hospital visits. And I can tell you, I was shocked when I saw her and they finally opened the doors. She was in such a bad condition. And one of the things I always tell caregivers is when you're they have what is called weekend leave. Okay, today Doris is okay. She can go back for weekend leave. But I monitor her very closely. Hey, morning she's okay. Hey, morning she gets a bit uneasy, stuff like that. So I note it down. Night she's okay. Go back for work Monday. I'll tell the doctor this thing whatever, so he can adjust the medicine. So caregivers must learn the skill. A lot of them and never leave the medication what's given, never leave to them when they are unstable. Because observe Doris, when she's not well, she will pop the medicine inside, stick it under her tongue, throw it out. It happened in IMH. It happened in IMH. So I learned all these skills and stuff like that.
So how about the finance? How would you? I mean, I'm sure it must have been very expensive for you to the like electro things or experiment.
Fortunately, they applied Medifund for us.
Okay.
So that was thing. But the cost is too high. Financial.
You still have to pay from your pocket.
No.
Okay.
So, but anyway, it was when I talk about financial means you have to travel up and down by taxi. You can't bring Doris in a
Right.
in a MRT and it's
Were you still working that time?
No, I think I gave up my job. I gave up my.
So how would the
It
cost
was
of
tough.
every
It was
month
tough.
be?
It was tough. It was tough, but I somehow or other I had some books to sell, so I.
Yeah, because you need like daily
Which is
expenses.
why I've been advocating for caregiver allowance.
Right.
When I last left my job, my pay was 1,800, 31 years. 31 years, 8,800. So 1,800 suddenly gone in.
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to survive? That is when I started a writing career.
Right.
I'm very blessed to have good friends. I have an Indonesian friend, a Catholic friend. I have got some very good Catholics. The other day, it happened recently, I got diabetes and I didn't have any more. My sugar level was low, I was almost fainting, I had to crawl to the kitchen, take a sweet drink. Then I told my friend Michael Peng, who's a real great guy. He said, don't worry, Ray, I ordered for you. I said, I need glucose tablets right out. Don't worry, Ray, I ordered for you. I asked for 4, he gave me 6. I paid for it. So you see how people, because they all believe in what I'm doing for Doris.
So you believe that the communities and organization in Singapore really forwarded their support and help for you and your wife.
Yes, some
So-
organizations help, but I'm still reaching out.
Right.
Then there's an Indonesian friend of mine. He's such a swell guy. He got 2 children. And whenever he buys my books, not just buying my books or maybe he pay me a little extra for my books, he brings me to a restaurant and bring me to my favorite restaurant. And there we will chit chat and stuff like that. He used to be a very quiet person, but after getting to know me, he has become so bubbly, He's like a chatterbox now, So we will talk for hours and all that and stuff like that, So that's how things work. I'm blessed in the sense that I have good people. When you have a disability, it's tough. It's really tough. Um, before when I was walking, using a walking stick, I was going to the bird to take the bus. There was 2 students who saw me. Uncle, do you need help? I said, Ken, you can help me. They held my hand. got my bag and walked up the bus. Then kindness can spread also. There was a Chinese gentleman there, educated guy, who saw it and he helped me. He said, "You need help?" And then he helped me to sit down.
We have a very kind generation
Yes, yes.
today.
So basically, I mean, they are good and bad. Thankfully, mostly good.
Yeah.
Then I went to the food court at NTUC food court in third floor at Ang Mo Kio Hub. So I was queuing up to buy my drink in the wheelchair. Then I asked the lady in front of me, "Can you do me a favor and use some money? Can you buy me a drink?" You know what she did? You want big or small? You want small or big? I said, "I don't mind the big one. Don't worry about the money. I'll pay for you." Then there was another lady, almost, I think the next day, she was with her son. Then I asked her, "Can you help me buy a drink?" and gave her the money. She told me, "Uncle, you don't carry." Well, you said, "But then I bring to the table." And she brought it to the table. The son saw it. What kind of values are she passing to her son? So you see, kindness, I always say kindness, let kindness infect us like the flu. Let it spread. Let it be contagious.
Hello, Raymond. So, thank you so much for sharing. And we would like to know what phrase, motto, or piece of advice would you like to share with our younger generations? And how do you think they can take care of themselves earlier so they don't fall into such situation?
Thank you. My strategy as I've applied and I help people is practice the 3 Ps. What are the 3 Ps? Patience, perseverance, prayer. Now, patience is not necessarily the easiest thing to do, but I can tell you if you can manage patience well, always focus on your loved one because you must be able to give them unconditional love. Love is a very powerful tool. You look at children, when you hug them, they grow, they grow to be really caring, understanding. I use this, uh, this I would call a motto or phrase, which is pieced out from a poem I wrote titled "Live." So this is how it goes. Choose to love and live. When you love, you will give. When you give, you will score. When you score, God will love you even more. So that's one of the strategies I use. Do not be afraid to seek treatment. I mean, whatever it is. I mean, don't don't hide yourself. Uh, Seek treatment early. Go for talks. Read books on mental illness. Learn a lot about how you can, with treatment, recover. And don't be afraid to seek help. Uh, Surround yourself with people who can give you higher. Uh, you don't need 1,001 friends. You just need a couple of friends. I only have a handful of friends, and they are really solid friends. And do not be afraid to confide in someone. You see, when I share, 10 people open up. I was at a church selling this book, having a schizophrenia, and this nurse came forward, a very attractive girl, and she told me, "Raymond, I have bipolar." I was surprised. Then she bought the book, and when I was going home, to get a taxi, she carried my bags. She carried my bags, and then she helped me, then she hugged me. Then I told her, "Make sure you take your medicines. Don't default on your medicines," and stuff like that. So hopefully this is something that can help people. Uh, don't be afraid to go for counseling. I mean, people take medications for all kinds of physical illness. I had to take diabetes medicine and cholesterol. I mean, nobody likes taking medicines, right? But if I don't take my diabetic medicines, I will go into a diabetic coma. So I know if I take my medication on time, I exercise, I do my physio, I can go on to lead a normal life despite my disability.
Right. Could we know that what are your next books coming?
I hope to write a book called Beatitudes and Attitudes, which means Beatitudes about uh, being happy and being having blessings. You know, I like to listen to songs. Another thing I use as strategy is I love music. I really love music, listening to the oldies and stuff like that. And you know something, Aarti, music, when I listen to music, I'm really happy. But when I listen to the lyrics, when I'm sad, or when I need inspiration, I listen to the lyrics. And sometimes, yes, loneliness does get to me sometimes, but there's a class to loneliness. There was this author, Leo Tolstoy or something like that, who said, he said, you must know how to feel for people. You know, it's basically what I do. Uh, when you can feel pain, you are alive. But when you can feel for the pain for other people, you are a human being. Now, isn't that lucky? He's a Russian author, I believe. So this is something which is always look at inspirational quotes. You know, my wife, when I wanted her to do a cookbook, she said, "No, really, so many." I said, "You're a good cook." No, so many cookbooks in the market, very hard to sell and all that. So I didn't want to stress her. Then I found a strategy. I saw this quote, Oscar Wilde, another brilliant author, poet. You know what he said? The human race, all of us are in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. You won't believe it. Next hour, she told me she went on the computer where I want to do the quote. You see how people are inspired by quotes? To read inspirational quotes. For every problem, there is a solution. And from the solution comes an opportunity. And that opportunity I have seen in many, many instances.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond, for giving us your time and definitely for sharing very uh, valuable advices for all of us. So that was Mr. Raymond Anthony Fernando for you. And this is Aarti Agarwal. We're going to come back again for season 3. Stay tuned. The content and the topic we're still looking for. So today's video purpose was for you to stay happy and healthy lifestyle, and please take care of yourself. A mental wellness today is very, very important. Look into your neighbor, family, and friends, and let's grow together happily. Take care and have a nice day.